Hey guys, we are live at the ATN Nerd Stream Friday. I'm here with my good friend Eloy from the Turnout. If you have not seen his YouTube channel, he is a charm enthusiast like me. He does awesome videos. Please like and subscribe to his wonderful YouTube so we can do more wonderful collabs like this. And then I can be on his channel, which actually is going to happen tonight. But the reason we are here, guys, is because we are talking about our Theories for Charmed Season 3. So, without further ado, first I'm going to ask Eloy this wonderful question. What did you think of Season 2?
In many ways, I enjoyed Season 2 more than Season 1. And in other ways, I disliked it immensely. It's hard to really parse exactly. I feel like it's kind of an overall kind of thing. I would say overall, I enjoyed Season 2. I just the writing, however, for me was just a little uneven because they would have episodes that were amazing and then they would be followed up by like a ho-hum episode, and the pacing was just off in it seemed like they were like, and I didn't check credits or anything, but it felt like almost like every episode was just like, well, that didn't work. Bring in some new writers. What can you do? That's what it felt like, at least.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I actually have a theory that they have a dartboard and they put it on the wall, like pretty much how Bryan Singer did his X-Men movies, and they just take the dart and they're like throwing it at different subjects. They're like recycling, and they're like, okay, Macy, bam, let's do this. It's like, what does that have to do with Charmed?
But I thought that Season 1, though, I think it stuck too much to the original Charmed formula. And I liked them breaking out of that in Season 2 and really trying to make it something new, something that would kind of feel more like belonged to this show. I just felt like there were just a lot of missteps, a lot of redundancy, and a lot of them introducing these interesting world-changing concepts and then just forgetting entirely about them. So, I mean, but it was good.
I mean, overall, Season 2 was not bad.
Yeah.
But I absolutely agree with you that consistency was all over the place. It's almost like they didn't watch the previous episode before they wrote the script. And I don't understand how you can do that. I mean, I know people are on a time crunch. If I really were to guess, it's almost like some of them were filmed simultaneously without any knowledge of what's happening in either of the episodes. It's just like out of order. We'll just make it work. This should have been in episode 3. It's in 5 now.
Well, I mean, and for me, like when I say inconsistencies too, there were inconsistencies with the characters. Like there was the episode where I think it was 12, it was somewhere in the middle, where like the sisters had to like divulge their biggest secret that they ever had. And like Elle's secret was that she didn't want to have to take care of everybody. And I'm like, but that's what you've been doing this whole time. People tell you to stop and go away and stop bothering with me. You're still doing it. Like, so that sounds like that's a you problem. Like
that's true. Like when she was turned into a fly, she was even like, I care more about my sisters than having magic and blah, 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 and being with them, making sure they're okay. Except now, 6 episodes later, I don't want to take care of you people. You're getting on my
nerves. So that's the thing, right? Like that's the level of inconsistency that I'm talking about. And obviously I made a video on my channel. If anybody has watched it, feel free to go watch it. It's called Vanquishing is Murder is essentially what it's called. And I just had like a big quibble with, I think the way that Vanquishing has been handled in the second season, especially. And for me, like I said, it's because they introduced the idea of nuance.
Yeah.
But the original Charm didn't really have that. It was like good and evil, and that's what it is. They introduced the nuance of there's gray in the middle, but they're still treating everything like it's good versus evil. Yeah. So then you have the Charmed ones going and murdering people. Like they're not just demons anymore, because demons are they're not just evil things anymore. They can be lots of different things. So it's just stuff like that. It just seemed like they had a lot of cool ideas and they were trying to fit everything in, instead of really taking their time with the world building aspect of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the actors and stuff did a great job with what they were given. Like,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely. I mean, and they want that check, but but now I like that they introduced new characters. Like I like Abigail. I think Abigail brought a lot of pizzazz and flavor to the bunch.
Yeah.
But it was so weird how, like, even then when I was reviewing episodes at first, I'm like, okay, she may be a little trash, but then I was like, but she's always helping them. For a villain, she's helped more with the charm ones than the charm ones have helped themselves. So
Oh my God.
I don't know. I was kind of like, what is her role specifically? What is Abigail supposed to be? I guess that is my question, and I still don't know. So
So the way that I have said this on, I think, a couple of my episodes, because I did episode by episode too. That's actually how I found you. Is I started doing the episodes, and I'm like, well, let me do mine, and then let me go watch yours and see if I missed anything.
Order, by the way, that's a good order to do it. I don't like watching other reviews until I do mine. I don't want to be clouded when I do my
exactly. Yeah. But for me, I've always said that Abigail, I think, was the writer's attempt at writing a Loki kind of character. And that she's a trickster, she's kind of opportunistic, she's very much there for herself,
right?
But she will also be helpful if, like, there's things that you need to work together on and whatnot. She understands that if the world's going to be destroyed, hey, maybe I need to work with you. I feel like she was just, I feel though that the way that she was written, like, she is supposed to be Loki, and that's how I interpreted it. But the characters on the show, they just see demon.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, oh, well, she's a demon.
Even though she's half witch.
Even though she's half witch.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually one thing that I said. I was like, and Macy is part demon, but she's just a witch.
Well, and when you say that, then this is when fans of Charmed, and we are fans of Charmed, will come at you and they'll say, no, she is not half demon. She had demon blood injected in her. And Abigail was actually born to a demon, which technically, I guess I can kind of see that. Yeah. But it's interesting how, if you look at it, I mean, Macy had the characteristics of being a half demon, just like Abigail, and everyone gave Abigail all the hate, and Macy was like, "Nah, it's all fine, Macy. You're good. You're okay, girl."
Right. Well, and that was why I said specifically, I said Abigail is half witch, and Macy has demon in her. Like, she's part demon because the blood imparted something in her, obviously. Otherwise, she wouldn't have had the stuff in it.
Yeah, it definitely changed her. I want to say it kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say it changed her magical DNA, because I really don't know in this world how that works. But I do remember she got in the club that only demons.
Exactly.
And she definitely had characteristics. So yeah, it did something to her. And now it's supposedly all gone, and I don't understand that. But we'll come back to that.
No, I get that. There was the ritual, and Abigail was like, yeah, I'll take your power from you. You sure you want to give me the power? No, go ahead, please take it. And
then, with the dagger, right?
Yeah.
But why? So I guess my thing was, somebody told me that Abigail had that ability to begin with, but I only saw it in one episode, and another person said, well, that was a mistake. They weren't supposed to show that. And that she wasn't supposed to have the fire conjuring ability prior to her taking it from Macy. But she did. If you go back and watch one of the earlier episodes, she formed a fireball and she threw it.
The way that I interpreted that was more like, it was like Human Torch versus Pyro sort of thing, where, like, before, as far as I interpreted it, maybe I'll have to go back and watch it, but she didn't conjure fire, she moved fire around.
She pulled it from a light.
Right. Which is different than producing it yourself. So Pyro can only, Pyro from the X-Men, if anybody's following along. So it's like, so he can move fire around,
right? But
he can't make it himself. But now she can make it herself. That's how I interpreted it. That's what made it sense in my brain. So
yeah, but they were saying how she even said herself that the ability to control, manipulate, and create fire was something that was rare to demons in the demon world. But it just kind of threw a lot of stuff off. And that was more, I actually think that was more of a writer's error or a plot hole that was unintentional because that didn't make sense when she said that later when we saw you pull a fire prior to getting Macy's. So there's a lot of weird inconsistencies in that way. But if I'm going to be honest, I kind of feel like she's the Billy of, or who they would perceive to be the version of Billy in this universe.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
Yeah, because they always try to take something and they put a spin on it, like with Parker being Cole. Yeah. And, like I always think that, like, even looking at the sisters themselves, they're kind of a hodgepodge of all the sisters. It's not just the Prue, Phoebe, Piper, or sometimes Paige. They are basically morphs of all of them. So I think that's kind of cool. But I'm looking to like, just whenever I talk about her, I'm like, she's totally the Billy. And they're just trying to make the Billy character a lot deeper, a lot cooler, because she's definitely cooler than Billy was. Yeah. And that way, that's kind of like her role. And I can see that. So yeah. So I think
that's part of my thing too, is I think in my other video too, I had made the mention that like Alistair Kane kind of gets around, because I'm like, because he's got a full demon kid and he's got a half demon kid and he's got a half witch kid. Yeah. And I'm like, that means like there's gonna be like half leprechaun later, and there's gonna be like half everything.
Well, in this world, probably. Might
as well. There are fairies. We've already confirmed that in the first season that there's fairies in the world. So
there are fairies. So that's one of the things I really hope we get in season 3. I really hope we get back to what they did in season 1, because I like the demons of the week. I miss that. I really do. Because right now it's so, we have to figure out what Julian and Aunt Viv are up to, and, what they're trying to do by morphing or merging all these magical powers together to create these abominations and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, that's all good. But I want my demons of the week. I want them to cast spells on these. I want them to do something. I want them to do something.
I feel like you need to they need to strike a better balance.
Yeah.
I did feel like the first season was almost too Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
And the second season had too much overarching plot. So like, we just need to have a happy balance. Like, have an overarching plot with some Monster of the Week sprinkled in there, and I'm good. Right. That's the difference between like Buffy and Angel. Like, a lot of people didn't like Angel because if you missed an episode of Angel, then you didn't understand what was happening. Whereas with Buffy, you could skip one, you'd pick it up later. So,
and plus the changing of the guard so much in Angel, with one of the actors, I think, killing himself in real life, and then getting in Wesley, and then Cordelia leaving, and then it's a stuff. I'm an Angel fan too. But I feel like with Charmed itself, like with the reboot, they already had a strike against them. And we were talking about that prior to us going live. Even them being announced, the main cast, the majority of the main cast, I think it was everyone outside of, as you pointed out, Shannon Doherty, had issues with this series from its conception. And a lot of people felt that I don't want to say livelihood, but their legacy in Charmed was being, tarnished because we have this brand new version. And so it started a lot of online bickering between the cast. And really, I'm saying cast, actually, Mel and Madeline, Macy and Mel's actresses, haven't really said much. Yeah. But Sarah Jaffe, Maggie, who I think is a lot like her character, she was like, all right, them fighting words. So I do think that it's interesting how the show has been perceived by old school fans, our OG Charm fans, without any of them even giving it a chance, not even season 1. And they've had a lot to deal with. I feel if I was one of the actors in the show, I would feel very stressed out because, you're going to work, you're putting your heart and soul in. And with the CW, if you know anything about the CW, they shoot 16 to 18-hour days, sometimes 6 days a week. And just to be told you're crap before anybody even sees the series, and the OG, and Like, I don't understand that. We're supposed to be supporting each other, you know, even if you don't like what the network does, go after the network, leave the actresses alone, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that whole thing.
I feel like I like that Sarah Jeffrey said something. I didn't necessarily like the response to what she said, because literally what she said could have just been ignored. I feel like she said what she said, and she's like, all right, guys, seriously, you guys need to get a life. Stop coming at us like this. Move on. Do a movie, do another TV show, do something else with your life. I will say also, though, however, even though it didn't necessarily come about in the right way, but Rose McGowan made the larger point of like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be rebooting everything. That's a whole other discussion, though. And that's the problem, is that they're kind of conflating the two discussions in one. This show can still be great, even if we should be doing fewer reboots. Just because it's a reboot doesn't mean it's bad. Like,
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people's brains go to. They're like, oh, reboot? No, never. Don't touch my beloved thing that I love and change it and make it different. It's just like, I mean, that's the whole thing. That's the beauty of a reboot, is that you are not just trying to recycle the same thing. You're taking that original concept, you're updating it to the modern, you know, whatever's happening right now, and you are making it different. And I feel like Charmed has definitely done that better than some other reboots. I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, honestly, which is interesting, because Holly was like, "You're not supposed to basically take a dump on the original just to make money." And I'm like, you haven't watched the show, so how do you know what you're taking a dump on? You know what I mean? It's not like you've analyzed every episode like we have to, because, you know, we have to watch and entertain you guys, because we don't know what we're saying. We're old, or at least I am. But it's like, why would you make so many judgments? And even with Rose McGowan, when Rose McGowan and Holly Marie Combs made the video, they made a video because Netflix was taking off Charmed, and they were like, well, it's because everyone wants to watch the new show. And then Rose McGowan was like, and it sucks. I haven't watched it, but it sucks. But I'm glad people are working. And I'm like, no, the reason that they're taking it off the network, or off of Netflix, is because Peacock bought it.
Yeah.
As Charmed is not owned by the CW.
Licensing. Like, come on. Like,
it's got nothing to do with the new Charmed. Nobody was sitting there with a thumbs up and down poll saying, which one do you like? They weren't side by side. Yeah. But that's what they put out there, and it fuels all of those people that are automatically hating the new show without giving it a chance. And that is
what I saw was that they kind of were already hating on the show even before it even came on.
Yeah,
they were already hating on it because the description of the new show included the word feminist.
Yeah.
And they were just like, so what are you trying to say? Like, they did the thing where, like, we didn't insult you, but you took it as an insult anyway. And they're just like, oh, so you're saying that the original wasn't feminist? What's going on here? It's like, they didn't talk about the original at all. You're the only one talking about it. They didn't bring you up at all. You are not important to this story.
I really thought that was interesting too, because if you really think about it, you got a woman of color, you have women of color, you have LGBT, right? You have also interracial families, because, you know, two of the characters are mixed. That's not something you generally see a lot of. And they're all wrapped into one, you know, series. And it's completely, like, their whole universe is completely separate. When I watched old school Charmed, I will say, as a minority and a person who is in the LGBT community, they lived in San Francisco. Tell me the LGBT representation that was in the original Charmed. I am, to this date, I don't get it. They had, I remember a lesbian couple. I remember there's an episode where Paige gets turned into, or starts aged by these pirates. They have, you know, it's an aging curse. But she originally gets on the trail of these pirates by a woman who's like, my partner never came home. I'm so worried. And yeah, her partner basically got aged and died. We never got closure on the other partner who was trying to figure out what was happening to her girlfriend. They never went back to her. They never addressed it. I mean, she probably doesn't even know her partner is dead. I'm like, that is crap. And also, I don't know. And I know that Nicholas pointed this out in my last live stream when I mentioned this, when we were talking about Charmed. the Charm sisters did not really diversify in who they dated. Yes, we had an episode where Piper fell in love with a ghost who was from China or from Chinatown, who I think was the Yakuza. And somebody pointed out that Paige did in Phoebe's body go out with someone who was Black once, but that is it. I mean, that was it.
I think that's indicative of a lot of TV from the 90s in general, though. So I wouldn't even put that just on Charmed.
No, I don't. The only reason I even brought that up is because of Holly's comment that Charmed was very progressive.
Oh, yeah, no, not really.
Like, no. It may have had feminist elements, but it was not. Yeah. The progressiveness was not in that series. I'm sorry, it just was not. I'm with you. I
agree with Maria.
No, so. No, not at all. But yeah, so I just think it's interesting. And then as a person who is no longer in my 20s or 30s, who has dealt with a lot of trolls in my life, we're just going to put it out there, a lot of situations that I've had to overcome based on other people's opinions. What the people are doing in the OG series, these actresses is doing, is unprofessional for their status, for their platform. You don't do that. That is not what you do. It actually shows you the type of people that they actually are. And to add on to that, and I'm sure you will agree with this, maybe the reason we don't have a continuation of Charmed is because of all the behind the scenes drama that the original cast had. Yeah.
Well, and from what I heard, the original cast were in the talks with people about doing something
on Netflix. I think they wanted to do movies.
And then they scrapped it and decided to do a reboot. And that's why that's also another layer to why they were mad. And if that's the case, be mad. I mean, I'm definitely saying I'm not going to take it away from you. You should probably be mad.
Be mad at the network.
Be mad at the network.
Yeah, the writer.
Don't try to sink the show, right? Like, it's just.
It just doesn't. It makes.
It just seems silly.
It's completely silly. And I'm sorry. Again, I really love the OG Charm. The OG Charm is the reason I gave the reboot a chance. So this is no hate towards that. They did an amazing job for the seasons that we had. I mean, the last season I wasn't too keen on, but amazing job. But you cannot make a series your legacy. Yeah. That's what they're doing. They're making this their legacy. They're taking it personally. And the last time I checked, even if you're an executive producer, you do not own the patent to Charmed. It is not your creation. It came from somebody else's brain. Mm-hmm. You had to audition like everyone else. So stop. I mean, all right. Now that we had our Charmed soapbox.
Yeah.
So let's talk about season 3. So I know we talked about inconsistency. So pick a storyline from season 2 that you want to see in season 3.
That I want to see in season 3. So
3.
Are we saying like beyond the continuation of like the last 3 episodes?
Yeah, beyond the COVID shoots.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say, I think for me, I actually made a list here. So I have like 4 things that I kind of would like to see.
We are ready.
I'm going to say the main one that I want to kind of see would be the Demon War. That seems like it seemed like the Demon War was on and then like nothing, and then it's on again and then nothing, and then now we're gonna happen again, and it's like nothing. And a lot of that was because of Abigail, and that's another reason. Like, I completely agreed with you. Like, Abigail was like 95% super helpful and was the reason why the second half of the season witches weren't just getting murdered left and right. It was because of her. Just saying. But I feel like, though, they knocked her off. Gideon is now the demon overlord, and he definitely wants the war. So
Gideon?
Gideon.
No, what's his name?
Did I say his name wrong?
Gideon, I thought was from Magic School and OG Charmed. I thought, and you might be right.
Gideon is the dude in the nice suit.
Godfrey or God?
Is it Godric?
Godric, yeah. Gideon is the one that tried to kill Wyatt. And
okay,
it's okay.
All right, well, then I'm mixing up my G names here.
I got you. I'm here for you, man. I'm here.
Thank you. No, so Godric.
Godric.
I think he wants the war, so he's gonna make it happen. And the problem here that I see happening, obviously, here is that You have all these demons ready for war. You have all of these witches ready for war, and then you have Julian over here with all of his magical, demon creation things. And it'll likely end up being like the demons and witches have to combine their powers to defend against the thing. It's probably going to be something cheesy like that. But I kind of want to just see what would happen if, like, there was literally just a demon witch war. Like,
yeah, I would love to see that too, because that's a concept. I mean, they kind of flirted with that a little bit in OG Charm, but I would love to see, especially now that we have an expanded magical universe. I would love to see that. I'd love to see, and then since there is gray area, they would probably have demon allies, and that would be interesting too.
Exactly, they have demon allies. Some of the demons would have witches working with them. Like it would, there would be no black and white. Like everybody would just have to choose a side. And not necessarily, like the sides aren't necessarily even good versus evil, which is weird, right? Because the demons, they feel oppressed. They feel like the witches have been hunting them and vanquishing them. They're trying to, bring, glory and respect back to their people with the war. Whereas the witches are like, well, we're the last of our kind and we're just trying to survive. And, we know what's going to happen if you guys get in control. You're going to murder a bunch of humans. And but neither side is technically wrong. You know what I mean? It's
kind of like Grimm. If you ever watch Grimm, how some of I forgot the names we went by in Grimm, the names of the demons or fairy tale characters for some reason. But there were a few that were born a certain way. Like they literally would die if they didn't take the blood from this human, not really kill them.
Right.
Like there was one that they had no choice. They literally would die if they didn't do it, but he still had to hunt them down. And he would say, sometimes I hate, what I am. I kind of feel like that's how it is in Charmed. It's like some demons, that's their nature. They don't know, they don't know anything else. It's not like they've lived in a human society. So yeah, what we see is vulgar and, gory, they see as the way they live and survive. And that's how they hunt. So I know it's weird. Like all of it is just weird. And then you have some demons that are more human than the humans. Yeah. But because they're demons, they're automatically the enemy and they get hunted. So yeah, I see that. I do see that. I would love to see stories like that. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
because again, I feel like they touched on it a bit, but it was very much from we have to save the witches because the demons are just going to murder them all. Yeah. So but it wasn't within the context of an actual war happening, and I that would be the interesting part, not just the saving individual witches here and there.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever in the OG one actually had a demon that was good. I mean, I could be wrong. There was a lot of seasons. The closest we had was Cole, but he was half human. So that was just a battle of nature. So
exactly.
I don't know. Okay, so you said you had a list. What's your next one?
My next one is I want to know more about Macy's dad.
Dexter? Yeah.
I want more on that guy.
I want to know
not only is I like that actor.
Yeah. How did he meet Marisol? Why did she trust him enough to say, "Hey, I'm a witch"? Mm-hmm. Like all of that. I would love to know how they met. I would love to know how she got. And we know kind of how she met Ray, but how she cheated, like why she cheated, if she supposedly also loved Ray. I don't know. I would love to know that backstory.
I would say too. I liked the way, because that was actually something that I had been talking about from the first season. Is I was like, they talked about the fact that she grew up far away and she was doing her own thing. And then she just came into the family, Macy. Mm-hmm. And then it was just all about Macy's new. So let's tell Macy about our family here. And nobody was interested in what Macy grew up at doing or what her background was or anything. And that always really confounded me, because I'm like, wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you be asking questions as to how much she might have known about her life or anything like that? But I really liked it in the second season where they kind of explained that.
Yeah.
With her and getting her memories removed and stuff like that. And I was like,
and how she met Harry when she was back. Yeah.
So I actually really liked that.
Yeah.
I thought that one was a really cool way to explain that. But I feel like there could be more to that and kind of digging a little bit more into Macy's background, maybe involving her dad more in it.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. I would
Yeah.
really love to know how she met him and she felt, confident enough and trusted him enough to let her know that she was a witch, and probably even told him that she was an elder, which would be interesting. Yeah, I do like that. Now I'm gonna caddy onto that. I want to know where the rest of the Veras are. Like, do they not have any more family members? I need to understand this. Who taught Marisol magic? Where's grandma? Where's grandma?
Yeah.
Where are the cousins?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah. What I will say, and I hope that this doesn't come off wrong or stereotypical or anything like that. But yeah, they need to have at least 12 cousins.
Yeah,
Like, I know I have about 10. Like,
I mean, you're Hispanic. I am half Black and Native American. Traditionally, big flipping families.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have somebody other than their mom.
Exactly. No, I'm with you there.
Yeah, I just thought that was interesting. And guys, I am reading your comments. I'm just trying to get through what we're going to talk about, and then we're going to see if we have enough time to answer some of them. Abby, it is 4 a.m. there. Welcome. I love you, girl.
Thank you for staying up with us. Oh my gosh.
Seriously. And Nicholas, thank you for telling me they were Hexen beasts from Grimm, because I knew if somebody was going to say that, it was going to be you. Told you, Nicholas is on it.
I'm loving Nicholas already. I've been reading the comments too.
Oh, Nicholas is on a roll. All right. So we got that. What's your third one?
Let me see. I kind of want, and this is a long shot, this won't happen. I want the Lost Adventures of Ray. Because like no, because I want to see like Ray like 10 years ago,
Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, like Indiana Jones, like going relic hunting and stuff. Like, oh my god, that would be so fun to see that, because like Ray reminds me a lot of like my own dad. So like I know like when I'm watching the show, it's just like, oh, it's like
Ray is nothing like my dad. My dad's like Alistair.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
I wish I was making that up.
No, it's funny. My dad was a drill sergeant in the Army.
Mine was a drill sergeant in the Air Force.
Oh, wow. Well, see, but my dad made a conscious effort to never bring his work home with him. So my dad was the most soft-spoken, sweetest guy at home. But I knew that when he went to work, he was just drilling into people. So
he should have a talk with my dad. I had to roll my socks and everything growing up. My dad was complete military at home. He still is. He's 74 years old. You cannot say anything to him. So, yeah, no, sir. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting. All right. So Indiana Ray. And what's your fourth one?
Okay. Well, technically there's two more.
Okay.
So I want more on the past Charmed ones.
Oh, and from the book, right?
Yes. I want to know more about the Charmed ones that came before the Charmed ones that we currently have.
And are the Hallowells in there?
I was hoping that when they opened the book, you would have seen Hallowell written in the book. But I think if they would have done that, then they would have had to like confirm that one of the sisters was dead. You know what I mean? Because
that could have been Prue, though.
That would have been Prue counts, though. I don't think Prue counts because it was always 3. It was constantly 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Yeah. There was never a 4. So I don't know. That would mean that every time the power of 3 comes together, one of them has to die. One of them can die potentially. Yeah. So anyway,
well, maybe they could have like some freaky comic book multiverse series, like type scenario going on where the Hallowells are from another Earth. And then they're from the Earth 2 or whatever. And all of them have a Melinda Warren for some reason, because Melinda Warren was in their book. So, which is interesting, actually. I would love to know the tie into that, because, Warren and Vera are not the same name. So, that's very interesting. But yeah.
But I thought that more information on the past Charmed ones would be good, but like less in the way that we've gotten it so far, where we're just kind of told like, hey, there's more Charmed ones. Like I always loved the way that I always bring everything back to Buffy. I apologize, but I loved like in the last season of Buffy where she was just like, you know what? I realized I don't know anything about the Slayers that came before me. And she started really kind of like diving really deep into the history of where they came from and all that stuff. And it wasn't like an episode. It was like several episodes. It was like, it was like a D plot of the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it wasn't something that they introduced and then forgot about. Like, it was integral to the character for her to understand her powers and where they came from so she could command them even better and use that knowledge now to defeat the big bad at the end. So I would love that to be something that they kind of focused on for
I think that would be very cool. Yeah. And I was going to say, never apologize for referencing Buffy, because that's amazing. I always wanted to tell Buffy from the TV show to just watch the Christy Swanson version. She'll tell you what happened with the original show. And if you have cramps, a vampire is near.
Yep, exactly.
But no, I think that's cool. I think that'll be, I would love to know more of the history, like what started, but especially since we have the Black Amber tie-in now, with like origin of our power is from the tree and the Black Amber.
Yeah.
It's like, that's all new to me. So
yeah, the Black Amber thing, that threw me because it was introduced so sloppily. Like, it was like, oh, there's the Black Amber from the tree, and it's just like, oh, I found some, and it's just like, wait, like, what's happening right now? Where did that come from?
And we can't use the Black Amber unless we're using our Captain Planet abilities, and I was like, we all one. Like
it was odd. I mean, but I'm a fan of a well introduced Deus Ex Machina, but that was just, it was poorly introduced.
I absolutely agree with that. But yeah, so that's an interesting. I want more history on that. I need to know why this Black Amber, and why, if that's the case, why doesn't everybody have Black Amber? Every human being should be able to be a witch. There should be nothing special about the charm ones. That's just how I feel. Okay, and what's your next one?
Yeah, I feel like Black Amber is midichlorians. Just saying. And then I kind of want it, if we don't get the Demon War, then I wanted to return to my original thought of what season 2 was going to be like. And I wanted to be Witch Police. Ooh. Because that's what they were hinting at the end of season 1. Was like, oh no, all the witches are gone except for us, and all of the supernatural creatures are coming to us for help. And I was like, that sounds great. That's like every time the fairy has an issue with an ogre, you got to go deal with it. Like, I love that. Let's do that. That sounds fun. Yeah.
I mean, because there's no white lighters, technically. We say there's none, but they seem to be popping up every now and then. Because, like, I remember I was so proud of all my theories coming true. I had so many theories about, like, before we even knew Harry and Harry's dark lighter with
Jimmy.
And Jimmy. I already knew that they were split. Like, I already knew it. I'm like, they split them. I just remember going back to the video, and I'm like, why? I'm like, because it's the only thing that I thought the ZW would do. I think on the level of a CW writer, I'm like, when they were in the writer's room, what did they do? This is what they did. I'm like, so, but now they've kind of written it. So it's like, okay, yes, we have Jimmy. Yes, we have Harry, but we also have Julian. We have Julian's sister. We have Aunt Viv. We had so much going on that it's actually frustrating to keep up with. If I was a charm one, I would never feel safe, because quite frankly, you're not. I mean, every corner of your life, there is something. Just like the character of Ruby. I like the idea that there is a woman out there who doesn't want to be a witch, but is very powerful at being one. And it's completely at odds, because she is the yin to Mel's yang, because Mel loves being a witch and having powers. And she can't comprehend being in a relationship with someone who is a witch like her, who doesn't want to be a witch. Yep. I feel bad for her if we were thinking about Mel's relationship track. I mean, well, with Nico, be with Jada.
I don't know what happened with Kat, because it felt like they were, they were inching towards that being the thing. And then I don't know if like the actress was like, nah, I'm done, I'm good. Or like she got a different job, or the writers just decided to take another direction. But you can tell the way that she left the show that was not the original intent.
Yeah, it was abrupt. But that's the thing with Nico too. Like, look at season 1. Why bother bringing Nico back after erasing her memory early on, of her whole life, basically changing her whole life? And just to bring her back for 3 or 4 episodes to break up her engagement, to get kind of back with Mel, remember stuff. And they're like, peace out. Like, peace out.
even got that though, because in season 2, you don't want to have contact with anybody. Like that makes sense. You don't want them if they know that you're alive.
Well, I will say you're right about that.
Yeah.
You're right about that. But let's talk about Jada. Jada's half white lighter, half witch. Why doesn't Jada know what's going on?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Jada.
Yep. And then since she is half white lighter, did she die? Because she was not attached to the elders. Like Harry didn't die. Harry like separated himself from the elders. She thinks the elders were crap. She thought they were crap. So you see where I'm going with this? You know,
that means that just means that she's still out there.
Exactly. But the Vera sisters, or I guess Vera and Vaughn, are supposedly dead. Wouldn't she have gotten wind of that in the magical community and be like, wait a minute, Mel's dead? And not been like, well, let me really see and fill her out. I mean, I'm confused on why we never had that tie-in.
I didn't think that that's honestly the problem, is that since Nico, Mel she has kind of just been bouncing from partner to partner.
Yeah.
And none of them have been full-on partners since Nico either. They're just been like little flirtatious flings, here and there. So like since Nico, even Jada and Mel, they weren't like super close or anything. So like, if you heard that some girl you hooked up with a couple of times died, you'd be like, oh man, that sucks. And then you'd move on with your life. Like I'd go to the funeral because I assumed that there probably was one. And if there wasn't anything suspicious at the funeral, then I guess she's dead then. So
I know it just seems weird that somebody within the magical community, you know what I mean? Like I could see Nico, well, she kind of knows her witches. So she's a detective. So she probably would think something. I think if anybody, it would have been Nico, because when her partner got killed, she was like 180. And this is a girl that she was still into. So you would think Nico would, but then Jada, being a part of the Sisters of Arcadia and then being half white light or half witch, she would probably be like, wait, hold up. Something weird has happened. The house is blown up. The book is gone. That would have been a red flag right there. I just don't think they thought that through. They could have had a better explanation.
I mean, they didn't. I mean, I feel like the writers for second season really just wanted to throw away everything from the first season. And just
I do, because they had a new showrunner. Yeah, they're like, just scrap all that. It's all good. It's fine. But we'll bring Parker back for a little while because he's dating Sarah Jaffrey in real life, so they're fine. I mean, I'm not wrong. But what about Abigail and Mel?
I feel like Abigail flirts with everybody, and Mel might think of it's more than what it is. Because that's how I feel. I feel like Abigail, that's what she does, right? She's emotionally manipulative. So she is not above.
I did think that was my initial, like, if you look at some of my past reviews, that was my initial opinion of her. But I've kind of come to the point where I feel like she's tired of everyone dumping all their crap on her. Like the father's like, oh, you're not demon enough. Let me try and kill you. And then everybody else like, well, you're half witch, so you can't be demon, but you also can't be witch. And her mother not accepting her demon side. She is a person who really wants to be accepted. And so because she's not, she's become the person that's like, well, I'm just going to take stuff. I want to be, this. I'm going to be in charge of this. You have to respect me because I have all the power. That's who Abigail is. But I do think that she had feelings for Harry. And I think that she actually has, I don't know if she likes Mel, but she keeps saving her. And their banter is very flirtatious. And I don't know if this is the writers trying to queer bait, because that is a term and it does happen, or if this is a way of trying to keep her around, because honestly, I don't know if her actress, Poppy, name I forgot the last name of, will be in season 3.
Yeah.
So
I feel like they've already introduced Abigail as definitely, fluid in her sexuality.
Yeah.
They already had scenes earlier when she was with In the Bed with Women, when they came to ask her for a favor, and she was just like, oh, I guess I'll help you again. So, but that's the thing, is just like, I like Abigail. I feel like the reason why I feel that her emotions for Harry were genuine is that she had scenes without the charmed ones and without Harry in there, and she was still telling people how into Harry she was, like things outside of just like direct manipulation. Yeah, she was still talking about how much she really liked Harry. So obviously it's there.
Yeah.
With Mel, so far, we have not had any of those relationship establishing scenes where she's talking about Mel even outside of interactions with
This
Mel.
is true. Yeah.
So
She
at
has
this point, it's just flirting,
Yeah.
and she flirts with everybody. She flirted with Jordan when Jordan was there. She was just, she started flirting with him, and like she just flirts with everybody. Then
I think with Jordan, she wanted to know why he was in the room, though. So she does that to manipulate people. But I did like the banter that they had at the bar, and I did like the banter when they were hiding from the demons in her apartment. I thought that was cute because, quite frankly, Abigail could have teleported, but she couldn't teleport Mel out.
Right.
And so she stayed. And so there is something in that. But I don't know. I think the only reason I'm stressing that is because I want Mel to have some kind of stability because, quite frankly, if there was a shafted character in season 2, it was Mel.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
She was shafted. I really want her to have more. I want Mel to not be obsessed with powers, feeling inadequate all the time, getting upset as being known the potion girl. I want her to have an actual flipping plot that doesn't involve her sisters per se, even though, let me not say that because I always get mad when they're not together because they're always apart. I mean, they were apart so much. But I want her to have like episodes that focus more on her and not is Macy looking at Harry or is Jordan and Maggie going to get together? Or, well, they're feeling a sort of way. Oh, Mel, go make a potion. I just want her to have a role, I do. Because I feel like she's a supportive character and she's one of the main 3 stars. It's weird.
Well, I feel like they gave a lot of Mel's screen time in the 2nd season to Harry.
I agree. They gave a lot of people screen time to Harry.
Yeah. So, and I ain't even mad at it because I like Harry, and I liked the way that they evolved the concept of White Lighters and really dove deep into his background, the background. So I thought that was really good. It's just in the middle of a season where the sisters are the ones fighting for survival and all that stuff, we're doing a deep dive into who's supposed to be their support character. And that's part of the unevenness of the writing is like, you really did spend so much time with Harry and then we forgot all of these other things, including the main stars of the show.
I know. But we did learn a little bit more about Harry not being a saint.
Yeah.
Because they took the darkness out, but he was not a saint. He cheated on his wife. Apparently he has an entirely separate family somewhere with potential kids, which I think are going to come back to bite him in the butt later on.
Oh yeah.
I'm always thinking that Snow, Snow, the little vegan girl from Safe Space.
Oh yeah. I love her.
Like, she's totally the overlord.
You know what? If they did that, it would be my new favorite show ever.
It was. I've always been. That was been my running joke. But I'm like, that girl.
Oh my gosh.
That girl comes and goes like randomly in situations that do not make any sense, and she's just there. And I think it would be effing hilarious if she actually turns out to be Harry's granddaughter or great granddaughter or whatever.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so I'm putting that on my theory bucket.
And just one more thing, I want to talk about one more piece of uneven writing that pissed me off, and I talked about it a lot in my review of that particular episode. And it was when Maggie couldn't make it because she was like chasing Jordan down or something. I think this was before they knew what Jordan's fate was and all that stuff. So she's trying to mess around with Jordan, and she's like, "Hey Macy, go and just do my job." And I'm like, I'm sorry, do the writers not know how jobs work? If I can't make it to work, I can't just send my brother, because he has not gone through the training. He is not actually employed there. And Maggie's an assistant manager. Macy is not a manager. She did not apply for that job. She did not receive that job. And I was just sitting there just like, this is stupid. Like, I was literally it made me livid when I was watching that episode.
Well, then let me ask you this, because this is what also to add on to that. These girls are supposed to be dead. They have no social security number. they have no driver's license. Their house is magical and nobody sees it. They see an empty lot. What do they use as an address? How, like, Macy's like, oh, I was a scientist. Oh, cool. Let me offer you a job working for me. Can I see your credentials? Well, no, because I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Nobody questions this.
Ugh.
I'm like, how are they surviving? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Maggie probably makes like $12 an hour in Safe Space. How are they eating? How are they? They're all coming up with all these outfits and stuff. Where are they getting the money for this?
And that's what I'm saying is
Expensive.
like literally that would have been some of the first questions that like if I was in the writer's room, I would have been like, so wait, you're saying she's going to get a job. How is that going to happen? Like, what does that look like? Because like they're not even using fake names. They're still everybody's just calling them by their names anyway, even though they're supposed to be dead. So it's like, what is this anyway? I understand you don't want to overcomplicate it.
They cast a spell on themselves and made them look blonde and like said they were
Right.
cousins or whatever. But they didn't even do that. They were like, no. So I don't understand. I don't understand. I really don't. So, and with social media today, it just doesn't make sense. Swan. Thank you, Nicholas. I was told no, Swan. Yeah, Swan is the overlord, Nicholas.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
agree.
But yeah, I don't understand. And there's just been so many moments when I just kept thinking, how? But like, how did Mel not go to jail? And Safe Space is supposed to be like this place that's very tech friendly and savvy. Yeah. They don't have security cameras everywhere. You're not seeing them shoplift.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is honestly, now that we've had the discussion about earlier on with her getting the job in the first place, that kind of does now explain the whole Macy thing, because the management at Safe, they don't care. They just don't care. They're just like, as long as there's a warm body to do the job, it doesn't matter. And it's silly. Which is why I like Swan so much, because she's just like, she's there and she takes her job seriously and she cares about her coworkers and everything. And she's actually like just a genuinely nice, pleasant person. And then like she keeps getting crapped on in the show. Like,
yeah. Well, and then, I was always waiting for Julian to say, fly away with me to Paris. And I'm like, how's Macy getting on the airplane? I'm like, she's got no ID.
I think if Julian, I think it was a private charter. I'll give him that one.
No, but when he said he wanted to fly to Paris, they were talking about flying to Paris. I mean, it didn't come up that, we're taking my private jet. She was actually thinking about it originally. Then he's like, I'm going to Colorado and, whatever.
And then she ended up orbiting there anyway. So
did he not question the time it took to get from Seattle to Colorado? I just talked to him like 2 hours ago and now you're here. What is wrong? You're supposed to be smart.
Yeah, it's that's
so for season 3. I really, as much as I love the actor that plays Julian, I loved him in Haven. I thought he was awesome. I'm really ready for him and his aunt to get the hell out. I'm really done with him, Viv and Julian. I really am. I'm really hoping they don't drag this out. Like, I know they want to finish and wrap it up, but I'm worried that the first 12 to 13 episodes will still be this storyline. Yeah. And I think that will drive me insane.
I think that it's almost necessary for them to do that, because they're having to take the finale of last season and roll it into the new season. I mean, unless they're just like, here's the 3 episodes that we were going to shoot, and then we'll just start fresh after that. But then it's going to feel very jarring to the viewer who's like, I thought this is season 3 and 4 or 5 episodes in. Now all of a sudden it's a completely different thing, and it's going to feel off to the person watching it. So they're going to have to roll it into it.
Yeah, I think there's a way of doing it organically, though, where you're introducing a new concept like because I mean, they're good at throwing plots at us all over the place, in season 2. Yeah, that would actually have more of a purpose. Maybe introduce like another ally, or have one of your existing allies, Jordan or Abigail or somebody, do something, even Celeste, do something that leads you into another story, not just, this is season 3 and it's pretty much a continuation of season 2 and nothing else. And that is what worries me, that they're going to do that. I'm very worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope not. I mean, what I would say is that the necessity of having to roll the finale of this season into the next season would necessitate extending the bad guys' stay a little bit. So they would probably be there longer than if we just got the next 3 episodes and then bam, Yeah.
But it could be a thing. It's
basically us having to trust the writers to be able to handle this situation in a good way. But it's hard to do that 100% because we've seen where they can shine and we've seen where they can falter.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they shine. I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic here.
Yeah, I do too. I really, because like one of the things that I've always felt they didn't shine on is how fast the girls adapted to their powers. Like there really wasn't a struggle.
Yeah.
Especially when they got their powers back, especially with Maggie. Maggie has gotten 100% complete control over her. I call it emotion pushing.
Yeah.
100% of this power, like to the point where she was using it on Macy when they were trapped, and then like even Harry's like, take my love away, which when he said that, I just wanted to reach in. I have what I call a virtual hand that I bitch smack people with. And I just wanted to go through the screen like,
so my whole thing with that too, because I remember watching it and I'm just like, why would he even assume that she has the ability to do that? Like that is so far outside of what we have already seen her do, which is when she's feeling a strong emotion, she can make somebody else feel it. She can't manipulate it any more than that at this point. And it's only during extreme times. So like the only thing that I would be able to say would be like, she could maybe push his love into her or something like that, but she hasn't mastered that power really.
Yeah, and if she comes back and it is mastered, I'm gonna be mad. I'm like, no, that is not no. So yeah, that's an issue. But yeah, guys, I am really, you guys are like hitting these comments today.
Yeah.
So let me see. I'm trying to scroll up a little bit because every time you guys comment, they roll down. So let me start up at the top. I have some theories as for what might happen to our precious cinnamon roll, Jordan. Oh God, as well as our perplexing Spitfire, Abigail, for the foreseeable future. For what may happen to the lovely Jordan Chase, I can see roughly at least 3 options for him. Once he starts drinking his character development juice, one is where he saves the sisters by being yet another diversion, only for Harry or Mel to get caught towards the end of the chase. And in the process of completing his quote unquote ancestral deed to the fallen witches, he makes, scroll down because you're on a roll here. Sacrificially playing, gets several harmed by crazy Aunt Viv's affiliates, or temporarily dies via injuries and activates his reward by being a good soul, making him a Cupid, since the white lighter trope is getting a bit old. I could see him being a Cupid. I could see that. That's a good way of bringing in the Cupid, myth into the new charm, because they do seem to bring things in. In some way, it may not look the same as OG, but they do bring things in. So I could see him becoming a Cupid if he died. And then that would make him destined to marry Maggie, because that's what happened with Phoebe in the OG series. I mean, but to be fair, he could also be a white lighter. I'm sorry, Nicholas. That may happen. I'm just throwing it out there. He could be a white lighter.
To be a white lighter, he'd have to go through the white lighter process. And
true.
We know what that is. And I don't think we should subject anybody else to the white lighter process.
True. That is very true. Let me scroll here. Hi, I love you both so much. We love you too, Erica Booker. Thank you for being here. This is ATN's fault, however. Hello, everyone. Well, the once and future badass returns. I apologize. I don't know what my fault is, but I'm sorry for doing it. They are sisters. You could have fooled me. Yeah, we get that a lot. Let's see. A well-planned season consists of knowing how you want your season to begin and end. That's #truth. I mean, there's nothing else to be answered on that one. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, then yes and no, because that means that you're going to have an amazing beginning and an amazing ending, and then the middle's going to flounder. So, like,
unless they mean the outline is consistently good.
Yeah. Then I have a very strong outline. That's how you do. That's how you do it. Good
outline. That's how you write those MLA papers, guys.
Exactly.
Say it out loud so the CW can hear you. They won't. Yep, pretty much, Eloy. You and Maria hit it right on the head. Thank you, Nicholas. We try to hit things consistently. Dark Bees. I guess it's like a blood transfusion. That's the closest I can think of. You must be talking about when we were referring to Macy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's when the necromancer did her stuff, which she wasn't supposed to do. We learned later. I may be forgetting, but what happened to the source?
I think Nicholas actually answers that a little bit lower too.
Yeah, the source password was split into 3 necklaces. Yep, shards. They did this really cool avatar-like thing where they were calling on their goddesses, and they put them in 3 like pieces of a necklace and buried it, and then had their memories erased so they don't know where they are. Yeah. Approach the nerd at Eloy. Turnout. I got the reference. You talking to a comic nerd. We know, Nicholas. We know who you are. Yeah. Like, charm versus charmed. No, Dark Phoenix. It should not be charm versus charm. That's the entire problem. The original actors casting shade on the new series wouldn't alleviate the stress the new actors are feeling either. Yes, Yito. And welcome, Yito. Yito's another one of my ATN cheerleaders. Love him, love him, love him. He's in every live stream. Yeah, I really do. As we said earlier, I can't imagine being an actor in this series and then having that constant pressure of not only following an original show, but having the original cast basically call my show crap before it even aired. I just couldn't. I don't know how you could do that. That's a lot. That is a lot. Let's see. The original charm was kind of vanilla. The new one is more darker. I mean, they have dark storylines in OG Charm. Yeah. They did have some dark. That whole thing with Phoebe getting pregnant, that was a mess. But no, it was. I mean, the way she got pregnant, that whole thing was a mess. But I do agree that they are going more for shock value in Charmed reboot. So I do agree with that.
And I would also say that in the second season, they went darker.
Oh, 100%.
Whereas the first season was kind of the same kind of feeling of the original. Yeah,
they just had HD. See the blood more. I would say that I would say that Abigail is more of cunning Christy, but shows the Billy traits of Mel, since Macy and her ain't clicking like how Piper was with them both. Well, Billy actually, when she first got there, didn't really click with Piper originally. Nobody clicks with Piper. Piper is very
in real life too, apparently.
In real life too. Yeah, I think Holly and Piper are the same. So no, anybody knew Piper is automatically mistrusting. So Paige was kind of like, oh, I want to embrace you. Phoebe was like, cool. And Piper's like, nah, I'm not subscribing to that. So Piper has to warm to you. So I don't think that Abigail is Christy, because Christy would not have helped the Charm ones in any way. She despised them. And Abigail is just like, okay, whatever. I don't have anything to do tonight. Definitely Billy.
Yeah.
I respect the new cast a whole bunch. This is rough. Yep. I mean, even Javicia Leslie, how do you deal with all the hate, ignorance people are spouting and committing to the character? Yes, guys, if you don't know about the new Batwoman being black, which, we talked about it, she's getting a lot of hate on Twitter, a lot of hate on Instagram, and I don't understand it. It's just bullshit. So
that's what it is.
That's what it is. These ladies are of some strong constitution. Yes, they are, especially Sarah Jaffe, and she let them know in that Twitter response. She took those earrings off, guys. She wasn't playing.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see. Sorry, somebody's commenting, and of course it rolled down again. One problem I hate when we're doing lives. I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there. I'm sorry. And we're gonna be on for like maybe another 5-10 minutes, because we're gonna roll over to the Turnout and do another video. So you guys, please follow us over there, because we're gonna be talking MCU and some other stuff that we like to talk about, because we like to talk. But let's see. Scrolling up. Almost there. Okay, here we are. I might have skipped somebody. If I did, I'm sorry. Prue only danced with a black man in Miss Hellfire. Piper only dated an Asian man who was killed via mafia boss, who later turned into a ghost. Paige only dated Mason Cohen, the black son of her boss, for a brief 15 minutes of the episode. Then that was it. 15-minute date. Wow. Okay. And Nicholas, I already told you, man. You are my personal assistant. You are is there a TV show that actually portrayed San Francisco demographics accurately?
I'd say, what's that?
In the 90s. I'm like, think about
it. In the 90s, no. No show did it in the 90s. I think the closest thing that I would say, Runaways. Runaways did a really good job.
Yeah.
Not only are they from a lot of different backgrounds and stuff, but everybody that they engage with on the show, lots of different types of people. And I actually really liked that show that was one aspect that I liked that show for.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. So, and outside of the trips they took on the L word, no. One of my favorite TV shows, Monk, based in San Francisco. I don't actually recall much LGBT representation in that show. I'd have to go back and watch. I used to love watching Monk, but I sometimes you just forget they're even in San Fran because you're so into his neurotic world and OCD world that you don't even think about where they are. So I'd have to go back and look, but more than likely,
I can't do police procedurals. Like, they just don't interest me at all. The exception to that is Psych. And it was because the police procedural part of it was secondary to just like the best friends being funny together. And that's like,
I get that. I guess some police shows are hard, but I will say I watch a show called Midsummer Murders that old people watch in the UK. It's a British drama, and I watch it because it's like Battle Royale. These people in these villages kill each other on a weekly basis for stupid things like planning your flower is bigger than mine, your pie is bigger than mine, just crazy. And they're all like in this one county surrounding villages, and like 3 to 4 people die every week. And this one detective's like, here I go again. I hear these people just kill each other. It is hilarious. But yeah, outside of that, yeah, sometimes it's a little. I usually solve the crime before the police do, and I get mad when I watch the American shows. I'm like, this is boring. I mean, the killer's literally right there. I mean, you have to know this. Yeah, I get that. Let's see. Exactly. I wanted to see the Demon and Witch War. Yep. I think that's cool. Same. I didn't see much either. Which hurts. How do you feel about the development of Macy and Harry's relationship, romance? Because I was expecting a slow burn for season 2. You mean development by the fact that they were banging? Because that's the only development that they've done.
I don't know. I kind of really disliked it. I thought that it was way too much love triangle and back and forth and keeping secrets, and like, I'm just like, are these people in middle school? Like, what's happening here? Why?
Do you like me? Check the box.
That's how I felt with the show. And it was like, oh, well, he's with somebody else now, so I guess I'll go with this other person. And it's just like, but like, or you could just say, hey, I saw that you were with her, but I actually do have feelings with you after all, and maybe we can talk. It's like, have a discussion. That's all you have to do is have a discussion.
Yeah, and Macy knew he liked her. Like, she was
exactly.
She went through all the stages. Oh, you're a white lighter too, but you're older than me. Oh, but well, maybe you're cute, but I'm into him. And now it's like, wait, why aren't you paying attention to me? Why are you looking at Abigail? And then it's like, I love you, Harry. Come back. And then bang, in the bed. I don't know if that's what you're calling a development. I mean, I like Macy and Harry together. I just don't like how they wrote it. Because it's just weird. It's just a weird. I mean, I can't even call it a slow burn. It's a weird burn. I mean,
I kind of like them together. Honestly, when I was watching the show, I was really kind of hoping that they would not end up together.
In the first season, yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah,
but I like Gavin, so.
Well, definitely in the first season. Oh my gosh, yeah. Definitely in the first season.
I really liked Gavin. I was upset when he died.
Yeah,
I mean, but he was heroic, but I hated it.
but even in the second season, like, I was like, nah, I could deal with. I actually really liked Macy with Julian, obviously, until they revealed that Julian was the bad guy. And as obvious as it was, I was like, oh, they actually kind of make kind of a cute couple. And I was the one pushing. I was like, I liked Abigail. I was like, let's do this. Like, I liked the idea of a half demon and a white lighter getting together. Not everybody did.
Technically, Macy is part demon and a witch with a white lighter. I mean, really.
Don't get yourself in trouble. I'm already in trouble.
Cutting me down, guys. But no, think about the parallels. I mean, if you look at first season, I knew that Gavin was going to die because Macy is the Prue/Paige. All Paige's men pretty much died except for a couple. And of course, Andy died for Prue. And instead of Nico being the Andy character, Gavin was the Andy character because he's the one that did all the stuff. And then Nico ended up being like the flyby person that, like Dan and, for Piper. It was so weird how everything was reversed, So I always thought that was interesting. Just like Macy's whole character is basically what if Paige had been the oldest sibling and had been Prue. Yeah. That's basically what Macy is.
Well, like that's one of the things that I enjoyed with the new one is that it wasn't just a it wasn't just a rehash. Like they weren't like, oh, well, let's just start them off from the beginning again with just the original three sisters. Like, no, they brought in the whole fact that like there was a lost sister
Yep.
and, you know, all that stuff right from the get-go. And I actually kind of dug that. That was an interesting way to do it.
Oh yeah, I just loved finding the parallels too. Like if you look at Mel is actually closer to Phoebe. She's the activist. She's the, you know, all of the things that Phoebe was doing, trying to find herself and her trying to reinvent herself as a bartender when she, you know, her whole life was erased. All of that screamed Phoebe to me. And then Paige actually was more Maggie in a way too, because of the whole, you know, child that, well, not, I'm sorry, Piper. Piper was more Maggie because she's the one that's always the mediator between the oldest. And it was the youngest in the OG, but it was the oldest and the middle. So Maggie's kind of the glue that holds them together. And that's what Piper was for Prue and Phoebe. Yep. So it's so weird how they kind of morphed everybody around and have elements of each girl in the reboot. All right. We got time for a couple of more. So I'm trying. I wonder if a demon or a dark lighter can be redeemed. That would be an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I think it brings up the entire question of like, what are they being redeemed for? Because kind of like what we were talking about is like, you know, if I'm a demon who lives off of eating human hearts, I'm not going to be redeemed from that. Not only that, I don't see anything wrong with it. This is just how my life is, you know? So it's like, or maybe I do see something wrong with it. I still got to eat human hearts to live, you know? So it's like, you know, so it becomes a question of like redemption in whose eyes, you know, and is that even anything that they want, you know?
And I mean, that's true. I mean, a demon would have to want to be redeemed because they would have to understand they were doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah. I can see that.
And I have another video coming, which is, I'm at like halfway done writing it, but it's going to be another ethics and charmed video. The first one was about vanquishing, and the second one is actually going to be about the ethics of rejoining Jimmy and Harry, because a lot of people are pushing for that. And I actually think that it's unethical to do so. So
because you've created another life. And so
you have created another life
in a way.
You are killing one of them to make them whole. One of them has to die in the process. And is that your right to do that? Yeah. That's going to be a fun video to make.
Yeah. I'm loving the reaction to that one too. I'm just saying. This wasn't a question. This is more of a statement. Nicholas, my personal assistant, has said the only demons that were good in the OG series was Kyra, the demonic seer. I believe that was Cordelia from Angel, who wanted to become human, and then the half Manticore baby and the incubus from the novel series. You mean the novel or the comic series? I have the comic series. I think that incubus was in there. And that takes place, I want to say 5 years after the OG series ends, but Nicholas can correct me on that. So questions. I'm trying, guys. I said 2 more. Do you guys want the setting to stay in Seattle or go back to Hilltown? I don't know. I'm on the fence all the time about this because they have no life in Seattle because they're dead.
Yeah.
Like, so
it honestly kind of lends itself to them going anywhere else.
Yeah,
they could literally go anywhere at this point, especially if they can cast a spell and make their house teleport with them. Like, so it can even stay the same house and just make it go somewhere.
Cast a spell. The house is just following them.
Oh, true. Like, that's right. No,
it just followed them. They had no idea the house was there. It was like, yeah, your house is like right there.
So if they did that, then that honestly opens it up a lot for like if they wanted to scout new locations or do something different and, you know, really try to take it in another direction. Like if they wanted to maybe take it to Salem, like maybe
no, they can't go to Salem. We got Motherland, Fort Salem to consider. They got to stay away from Salem.
Oh, true. Well, they could go to New Orleans. You know, they could go to maybe these other places that are known for their supernatural, magical, you know, leanings.
Yeah. I think that'll be, I mean, hopefully they won't take him to London because they could if they follow Harry. But I'm just saying.
Harry doesn't have a life in London either. So,
well, look, none of them have lives. They're all dead.
They're all dead.
They're all dead. So it doesn't make sense. But no, I mean, honestly, guys, Hilltown is awesome because it was a small, like, really tell. It's a made up town. There's no town in Michigan called Hilltown, but it's a small college town where they got exposure locally, and they had a chance to find all the demons because there wasn't a huge population. Seattle was a lot bigger, but I don't have a problem with them staying in Seattle as long as we have new stories, and safe space is not like this thing that is the focal point, because that drives me nuts. I don't want them to be at safe space. It's like Google; they need to go. But
get rid of safe space and get rid of the witch computer, because that's stupid.
Yeah, please get rid of that. Please get rid of it. I thought I was the only one that thought that. So many people love that.
Oh my God! I rail against the witch computer in most videos. I stopped it because I literally was and in every one of my 10-minute videos, I would devote like 4 minutes to just ranting about the witch computer. I had to stop talking about it and bringing it up entirely.
Yeah, like safe space, not so safe. Exactly, mercenary. Okay, here's my last question. Did Macy ever break up with Julian before her and Harry got together? Like officially, I don't think so. They were having the talk. I know they were she was getting ready to have the talk, and then something happened and she had to go. So technically, no.
Technically, she cheated on Julian.
He did.
But we know Julian's the bad guy, so it's fine.
But I mean, infidelity plays a big role in this series anyway.
Doesn't it though?
Do it. So they cheat all the freaking time. So
everybody's cheating constantly.
That should be called infidelity, not charmed. All right, guys. If you have any other questions, I see there are other questions. I'm sorry I didn't get to them all. Can you copy and paste them outside of our top chat and put them in the bottom, and we will get back to them. I promise you. Because that's what we do. Again, we are going to be doing another video. I don't think it's live streaming though. I think we're
I say we go ahead and live stream.
Live stream. Okay, well, we're going to live stream over on the Turnout. So if
we're going to do that at 9, we'll give ourselves a 15-minute break.
Yep. So check out his channel. I'm going to pop his link in the description in a second so you can have it. But follow us over there for our wonderful continuation, because it's Friday and it's nerd stream time. So we're going to talk nerdy stuff. And again, make sure you like and subscribe. If you have not liked and subscribed, thank you for finding me, and like and subscribe to my channel. For my Yashahime fans, I'm getting up at 5 a.m. for you guys. You will have a video in the morning. I promise you by 9 a.m. unless my power goes out, because I live where it rains. Outside of that, thank you for approaching Nerd, guys. You have a good night, and we will see you in a little bit. Bye.
Bye.